welcome back to the Weekly Mash with another episode where we are mashing up authors, books, and all the stories in between. Today, we are thrilled to welcome Mary Jane Owen, also known as Michael Owens, and she is the mind behind Last Mom Standing, a cozy apocalyptic novel that's basically Shawn of the Dead meets Gilmore Girls. So grab your coffee, maybe
Love
a
it.
baseball bat, and we'll settle in for this one. Thank you so much for joining us today. Would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you and your work, and then we'll ask you hopefully some fun questions here.
Hi, I am Michael, and I write as several different names, but these books, Last One Standing, I wrote as Mary Jane Owen. And I also write nonfiction and sci-fi YA and middle grade gothic horror. So I am a writer. I actually started my first book when I was a teenager and didn't finish it until I was in my 40s. But I've written 12 since then. So I'm catching up.
You just purged
slowly.
it. It's just all at once. All the ideas.
I was going to say,
Absolutely.
I want to know how different the book is from the time you started it as a teenager till 40. Like, how much editing was there to, like, change it?
So I did kind of end up starting over, but the main idea was the same.
Interesting.
So
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
hopefully it's
So cool.
better.
Did you, like,
Hopefully-
go back and you were like, what was I thinking? Or were
You
you
know
like,
what?
oh, this is so good?
God, I hate to admit it. I'm one of these authors that I go back and I read my work and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so
I
good
love
at this.
that. I love
Well,
that.
you deserve
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Because this is a running thing on the Book Mash. If I were to ever write a book, my 25-page novella with no cover, no world building, no character building, like it's just a 25-page book, I would never read it again. I'd write it, there'd be no editing, and then it'd be out in the world because that's too much work and I don't know. I don't like to go back and see things that I've done. Like our videos and stuff, I hate watching them because that's me on there and that's weird.
Oh, yeah, I
I'm an
don't like
online
watching
teacher,
myself.
so I watch myself all the time. So it's like, whatever.
I was an English teacher. So editing is kind of
Oh.
my thing. I love editing. And I think I've read so many really awful things. I read my stuff, I'm like, oh, thank God, I know where to put a comma. The bar is super low. Once you've been
Oh,
an
yeah.
English teacher in
Yeah.
high school, ninth grade English, it can only go
I
up
have
from
to go
there.
off on a tangent.
Miranda and I
Sorry,
were
Ash.
sorry.
I saw a
No, go
video
ahead.
yesterday, and it was this person, and they're in a store, and they're like flipping through this book, and they're like, "Yeah, this one's definitely an AI created book because it's got the M dash in it." And they flipped to the front, and it was an Agatha Christie novel. That's so good.
Yeah. I am so grateful that I'm old enough that I have been writing. I have been published
Yeah.
since before AI was a thing. So I can
Right.
prove that I use my
Yeah.
M
Yeah.
dashes.
I've got proof.
Yeah, that was really funny though.
No, Miranda and I were beta readers, and it was funny because so the difference between our personalities, okay. Well, number one, I'm a preschool teacher, if that's what you want to call me. Miranda teaches middle school math. So I go into this book and the whole like comment section is me like cheering on this author, like giving her all the praise, like, yeah, you did that. Yeah, and then there's Miranda. There needs to be a comma here. There's this word is used too many times in this paragraph, and I'm like, you are
To
no
be
fun.
fair, I'm not just
I
a
really
math
liked
teacher.
it.
I did teach middle school ELA for like 3 years. So it's not like I went in as a math teacher and just started fixing grammar. Like, I still know what I'm talking
I
about.
have to say, I taught middle grade, I taught middle school, and I taught high school, and I did like 3 months in kindergarten. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
no.
I love little kids. I don't want to
Mhm,
spend more
yeah.
kids in that.
I know. I tell Miranda my horror stories all the time. She's like, I don't know how you
Nope.
do it.
Oh,
And
one
I'm
of
like,
the
yeah,
kids.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
even
know. I
go
don't know how you
I
teach
even go
me.
to my kids' elementary school, and I'm like, this is why I teach online. Yeah, mute button all the way.
No, that'd be nice in preschool.
Yeah,
Mute.
I was just gonna say
Rewind.
rewind.
Try
I
again.
didn't understand what you said. Let's run that back.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's get into our fun questions, Michael. First off, like we said, welcome to the Weekly Mash. We're beyond excited to have you here. Can you start by telling listeners a little bit about yourself and how your writing journey began?
So I have always been a writer. I was a writer all through school. I have things that I wrote in elementary school and middle school that are really actually pretty bad. But I had intended to be a teacher, and I ended up getting sucked into the .com bubble. I ended up being a web developer because that was a really good way to make
Mhm.
money.
Yeah.
And being a teacher
Right.
is not. as you know.
Mhm.
So I actually was a web developer for a long time, and I went back and I did teach for a couple of years, and I loved the kids and I loved the parents, and I hated the administration with a fiery passion. And I said, "Oh, you know what? You don't pay me enough for this." So I actually went back to technology, and I was a user experience consultant for a very long time. And then during COVID, I decided to take an early retirement, and I sold my house, and I packed up my kid and my 8 dogs, and we flew to Spain,
Wow.
and we
I'm
bought
jealous.
a little farmhouse 10 minutes from the Mediterranean, and it's about like 2 miles down a private road. And I kind of, you know, because it was in the middle of COVID, couldn't go out a lot, couldn't socialize a lot, was spending a lot of time by myself.
Yeah.
And my daughter is actually also a writer. And what was it? I think she wanted to like bleach her whole head and dye her whole head, all of her hair pink. And I had told her, if you write 1,000 words every day for 30 days, I will let you do that. And damn, she did it. And she continued to write. She got a nose ring and another piercing. Like, I have been dangling this carrot, and my child is full of holes now, but that's fine. But she finished her book, and I was so proud of her. She's written like 8 now. And I was like, I started a book once. I pulled out my book. I was like, I kind of still like this 30 years later. And I finished that book, and I finished the sequel to that, and I started writing another. And now I've written a bunch. I've got whatever's in this stack next to me, like 12 books. And then I've got another 3 that are done and ready to be
Wow.
published. And now I'm the one who is writing 1,000 words a day.
I
My
was like,
kids,
what's she dangling in
Right?
front of you?
it's the whole FOMO thing, man. You see your kid
Mhm.
accomplish something, and you're like, well, if the creature I created with my uterus can do this, I can do this.
Yeah. That came from me.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's 100% my mini me. So
Very cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm super jealous that you live in Spain, though.
one of the books that I wrote was about moving to Spain.
There you go. Now you
Okay.
It's hard.
you can live the experience, Ash. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's not easy, but it's doable. It is something that you
Especially with
can do.
8
Yeah, that's what I
dogs.
was thinking.
Yeah, that was the interesting part. So I actually started a dog rescue 13 years ago. And one of the things that my dog rescue does is it rescued dogs from Spain. And we brought them to the US
that's
to find homes. So I had been to Spain a lot. I was familiar with it. I had a network, I had people that I knew in Spain. So that it made it kind of like the easy choice for me. But when I started doing research, where's a good place to retire as an American, where, there's like democracy and shit, Spain kept me up. And I was like, oh, how
Yeah.
convenient. And then in the middle of this whole process, my daughter came out to me as a lesbian. And I was like, okay, starting the
Right.
research again. Let's see. Again, Spain came out on top. Spain,
Cool.
despite the fact that it's a Catholic country, Spain is super liberal. They were one of the first countries in Europe to have marriage equality. And it's awesome. They're the kind of religious country that's just in it for the holidays. Like they believe in religion. We love Spain. We absolutely love it here. My Spanish is still not awesome, and everyone's so nice about it. They are not like French. Like they're just pleased that you
Right.
try,
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. So
Well, Miranda and I failed because we took French in college and high school.
What I was thinking when we took French in high school, I wanted to do something different, and I regret it all the time. I married someone who is half Mexican. He does not speak Spanish, and I was like, why do we not speak Spanish? I could have taken Spanish in high school. We took 1/4 of Spanish in college, and that was it. That's the end of it.
I think she was
I
doing
have to
Duolingo.
Yeah, I was doing Duolingo.
I did Duolingo. Yep.
Need to get back into it.
Ain't
It's
got
a good
time
place
for
to
that.
start.
I ended up, so
I can barely speak
my
English.
13-year-old is doing Spanish on Duolingo, and she's got like this massive day streak. So she has me get back on there, and I start doing it. I'm like, I can't do this with Spanish. So I switch it over to French, and I do it for like for 2 weeks, and then I put it down. And now I'm in the middle of class, and the little Duolingo chime goes, and all my students are in the chat like, oh my gosh, was that Duo I heard? What are you doing? So then it like redirected the whole conversation. I haven't been on there in like,
I highly recommend it. Spanish is way easier than
Yeah.
French. In Spanish, you actually pronounce the
true.
letters.
You don't have like that.
You don't have to
Right.
guess, out of the 7 letters in this word, which one do I pronounce?
Or is it silent?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that in French.
Yeah. The conjugates is what gets me. And those are in both.
Final in high school was our teacher stood at the front of the room and was asking us questions. Well, smart aleck me learned how to say I don't know in French because I could still pass my final because I was still speaking in French. I just told him I didn't know.
It worked.
It did.
You got to do what you got to do.
I
say I don't know at the time. You know that.
Yeah. Gosh. All right, so we already kind of talked about how you went into your early retirement. You finished this book after starting it 30 years ago. What finally made you decide it was time to bring that particular book to life? Was it just seeing your daughter grow and really thrive in that author environment, or was there something else that made you the fact that you brought that book to Spain with you and you wrote it so long ago and it carried with you? I think that's the most impressive thing for me.
Honestly, it was competitiveness. She finished a book. I needed to finish a book, and that one I had a head start on. But it was a story that had been living in my head for 30 years, and I really just wanted to get it out. More than 30 years. I think that is the story behind all of my books. It's a story that's been living in my head, and I need to get it out before it drives me crazy. Yeah. One of the things that I struggle with is that I don't like to write sequels. And I don't mind going back and editing what I've written, but I wrote a story and the story's done. And everyone wants a sequel. And I'm like, but it's done. Those characters.
Yeah, we don't do that here.
So I do struggle a little bit with that. I wrote the second book to the first one, and I still haven't done the third one. It's on my list. I have a list of literally about 37 books that are just stewing around in here, driving me crazy that I need to get it.
Yeah, I couldn't. I'd be like, can you guys be quiet, please? I'm trying to focus.
You're mixing up now.
Doing.
You need to stay in your own lanes. We can't have characters crossing over. Stop it.
So one of the running jokes amongst my friends is that all of my books are self-inserts. All my main characters are just different variations of me. And I think that's probably true of most authors. Hopefully not Stephen King. That would be weird. The books that I write as Mary Jane Owen are there's no denying it. I have no defense. Those are 100% me. And they're really just what if scenarios. It's okay, what if I were really a secret agent? Or what if zombies attack?
I like it. So speaking of apocalyptic, if I could talk, for those who have not heard of it before, what is your version of a cozy apocalyptic, and what does it actually mean?
So, as you said before, imagine Gilmore Girls, but with zombies.
I love it.
But they're not mean zombies. They're not Walking Dead zombies. They're more like Shaun of the Dead zombies. And there is kind of a twist in the book, which I don't want to really give away. But this book, it has a happy ending. One of my reviewers was this is if Hallmark decided to do a zombie movie. And I'm yeah. Or the Lifetime Channel, something like that. Yeah, it is cozy. Yeah. It is very cozy. There's a cute little love interest, and the kids are wacky and adorable, and the neighbors are very quirky, and there are chickens that roam the neighborhood.
It does sound cozy.
Miranda and I are huge Gilmore Girls fans, so Miranda's a bigger fan than I am, but so now I'm literally playing Gilmore Girls in my head and adding the zombie.
Yeah, so imagine that Rory and Lorelai are at home, and the power goes out, and they're oh crap, we'll go do our thing, and then the next day the power's still out, and oh gee, I wonder if I should do something about that. And they're in an old farmhouse that's up on a hill, and they can see from their back porch that the town is on fire. And they're oh, okay, that's interesting. Guess school is closed. They're just living their lives. They're doing the things that a normal mom and her kids would do. They're not.
I think Lorelai and Rory would go out on the back porch though with popcorn and watch it burn.
Or go to Luke's because they need coffee, whether there's a fire or not.
Yeah,
because they can't make coffee at home.
One of the reasons they actually have a well, because they're in an old farmhouse. Okay. So they have a well, they have a fireplace. They are actually well situated for the situation. They recently moved to this house. They were in Georgetown, outside of Washington, D.C., kind of a swank neighborhood in kind of a, city setting. Jane, our heroine, is recently divorced, and her husband has jetted off to Paris with his secretary slash mistress, and she has used her divorce settlement to buy this house for them. So because, this is something that she can afford, and it's a good neighborhood, it has a good school, and she works remotely online for a company. She's a web designer, and I forget where I was going with that.
That's okay. They're well settled. They're well
No,
settled.
I
yeah.
like Miranda and I are
Yeah,
like in
they're
it. We're
well
like, keep
situated is
going.
where I
Yeah.
was going. Yeah.
We're just like, No.
Sorry.
Totally fine.
Mhm.
Totally fine. So you're a main character. You said Jane is a 40-something single mom. She's
Mhm.
surviving the apocalypse with teenagers and neighbors. It sounds chaotic and hilarious. What inspired you to write a story from that particular perspective?
So literally, I moved my kid to an old farmhouse. We're not on a hill though, but down a private road. Anyone I meet is just fair game. If I've met you in person, you're going to end up in a book. I will try to change your name and a couple details so that it's not super obvious, but everything kind of comes from real life. When we first moved here, the neighbor across the street who only speaks Spanish, he brought me a key to the gate at the end of the private road. And he's like, I'm going to Barcelona for a month. Here's a key. If anything happens, close the gate at the end of the road. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, everybody on the road has a key. If somebody else closes it, you can get in and out. And I was like, what
Right?
circumstances
Why do I need
would
to
we
close
do
the gate?
that? Are we, at what point does the neighborhood barricade itself in?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, zombies, obviously. In the 5 years that I've lived here, that has just been this running commentary in my head. What would I do if zombies came? Well, we closed the gate at the end of the road, which was in this book, but I ended up taking it out because that's kind of a weird thing. But we have a little British couple that lives at the bottom of the road that has goats, which is in the book. We have a really horrible
So
neighbor
cool.
that lives at the top of the road.
Hopefully they're
Yeah.
not reading the book.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But it's all just kind of my little what ifs that roll around in my head.
I love it. I'm
Yeah.
so excited. We get so excited about the
Mhm.
books, especially when we get to talk to you guys. It's funny because we look at all the books at the beginning of the week of all the authors who are having on this week, and we're like, ooh, this sounds good. Ooh, this sounds good. And then when we actually get to sit down and interview you guys, it's like, this is 100 times better than I thought, and it already looked really good.
I
So
think it's just having the author perspective. We get to see what drove you
I
to
know.
write this story. And then when we read it, it makes the experience that much better. So I think that's why we get so much more excited after having talked to you than before. We get the blurb, but then we get the background too.
Okay, so we're gonna skip around a little bit. So you mentioned before that your real name is Michael, and that you also write under different names depending on the genre, which I think is super cool. What inspired you to take that approach, and how do you decide which name fits what story?
So as a reader, I don't want to read women's literature written by a guy. And I know that if I put Michael on the cover of a book, people are going to assume it's a dude. And it's just an uphill battle. And this is something that I live with every day in real life. So if I can get around it, if I'm going to Starbucks or whatever and they ask my name, I'm Jane. That is my pseudonym in real life. And that's one of my other pseudonyms is Jane. This one's Mary Jane. One of my other pseudonyms is Micah, which is, kind of a gender neutral Michael. I do write my nonfiction and my science fiction under Michael because nobody cares,
Yeah.
Yeah. But anything that has any kind of romance, although, I mean, my science fiction does have a little bit of romance in it. In hindsight, probably, I didn't know it was going to be as gay as it is. I probably should have done it under a different name. But yeah, it's just easier to be Mary Jane.
Yeah. No, it's funny because when you told us that before we started about how your nonfiction books or when you write under Michael, I never realized that I don't really look at the author and what genre it is. I just grab the book if I think it looks good, and it's weird to me that people would judge that.
I think we do that
Like a- I don't-
subconsciously, not on purpose, but
Yeah.
I think women do that subconsciously.
I don't want to read something
Yeah.
written by a dude. I don't want to read romance
Yeah.
written by a dude.
No, I totally 100% agree. I
mean,
never
a gay
thought about it.
I absolutely love romance written by a gay guy, but a
Mm.
straight guy writing romance, yeah, no. I mean, I'm sure there are exceptions, absolutely,
Nicholas
but
Sparks.
99% of the time,
I
generally,
mean, I
they're
only
not.
read one of his.
I mean, he wrote the first book to ever make me cry. I read A Walk to Remember in 7th grade and cried in the middle of class.
Oh God. See, I like books that have happy endings.
Yeah.
That is where I'm like,
I do too. Sometimes you need, like
Mhm.
I don't know if you follow
Introduce
us, but we both just read Shattered Love by Ray Anderson and like ugly tears, completely bawling our eyes out, both of us. Sometimes you just need a good cry.
I love a good
No,
cry.
you don't.
I love a good cry, but it has to have a happy ending at the end.
There's
Like,
definitely
it's
not
this-
a happy ending, Michael.
I think
It's
it
I'm
not a
not
depends on
happy
your
ending.
perspective. I don't think
I
it's
need
a
a really
happy
clear-cut
ending, but I
happy
feel like
ending.
other people that may have been in that situation might feel like it's a happy
I have literally emailed other authors because it wasn't
ending.
clear. And I was like, I need to have a happy ending. Like, this is a trilogy. The dog is on the cover of book 1 and book 2. I need to know. The dog's not on the cover of book 3. I need to know
What
because
happened to
I'm
the dog?
not reading it.
If you do something to the dog, I revolt.
Yeah, the dog is part of the happy ending, just to be clear. Like the romantic couple, yeah, whatever. But the dog
The
is
dog.
part of the happy ending. There are dogs in my Mary Jane Owen books, and the dogs are part of the happy ending.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
I've got 8 dogs. We're not doing anything bad to the dogs, man. Not on this one.
Protect the animals,
Not the dog.
Oh my god.
The dogs are innocent. The men get sued, but the dogs are fine.
You said that you're working on your 11th book. Can you give us a little teaser what's coming up next?
The book that I'm working on right now is the 3rd book in my Trixie Bugatti series, which is another Mary Jane Owen. Trixie is a 40-something single mom who turns out was a secret CIA agent on the run, in hiding, off the grid for 13 years. In book 1, she stumbles into an botched bank robbery and is forced to out herself to take down the bank robbers. And it's pretty obvious right away that she is not your normal suburban soccer mom. And immediately it raises red flags, and she and her teenage daughter end up on the run, and they are being chased by the original mafia hitman that tried to kill her 13 years ago, which is the reason that she originally went into hiding. She's being chased by the police. She did steal a neighbor's car. And she is being chased by her ex-partner, who is also her baby daddy. And it's just kind of like, who's going to find her first? And then in book 2, it's a couple months later, they kind of settled in, and there's intrigue at her daughter's school. One of her new friends gets involved in some dangerous dealings, and her best friend talks her into adopting a really big dog, and hijinks ensue. And the book that I'm writing right now is book 3, where she ends up meeting her future mother.
Oh.
And that's traumatic as it can be. And also there's like CIA plots, and there's money laundering, and the Russian mob, and all kinds of interesting things. But the mother-in-law is a real danger.
No, that sounds so good. I love books like that have like the background of like being a police officer or CIA agent, FBI agent, like mafia, and then they're like living like a real life besides it, like the soccer mom, yeah, I love that.
That's the thing, like she's a
Yeah.
real mom. Same thing with Jane. Like, yeah, there's zombies, but she's a real mom, and she deals with real mom stuff.
It's like Good Girls. Have you seen that show?
I don't think
It's
so.
really good.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
It's more like Bad Moms.
Yeah, exactly.
But with like,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
So as you've said before, Michael, your daughter is also a published author. Have you two ever thought about collaborating, or do you try to stay out of each other's like universes?
I have begged her to collaborate with me, and she will not. We are very we are very alike, and I think we both have like a lot of ownership over what she lets me do all of her covers. So I
that's
do all
cool.
of her covers, and I've done all of her covers. So she's fine to let me have that part, the visual part. But when it comes to her story, she does not want to share. She actually, her latest book, so she has 2 books. She has a Hummingbird Coven trilogy that she's just finished the 3rd one. And then she has a book that she wrote last year with a friend of hers called Attend the Dead, which is like, it's got like this really cool, spooky vibe. It's a girl who can see ghosts. And she had to drop out of high school to take care of her grandmother. And she goes back to finish high school, and she immediately gets thrown into a murder mystery. And when you can see ghosts, you do have a little bit of an edge when it comes to
Yeah.
that. But she's very kind of quirky. It gives almost like Wednesday vibes. My daughter, that was the fastest she's ever finished a book because she and her friend were both writing in Google Docs. And she would open the doc and she'd see how much her friend had written. And she's
Yeah.
and she, tap, 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 tap. Like she had 5,000 word days
Wow.
where she just wanted to
Wow.
get
Mhm.
that. You know, she would have a scene in her head that she wanted to get out before her friend could because she wanted to write that scene. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, child has mind control issues.
It's fun, the competitive spirit, though. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Very cool.
So yeah, so
I'm
she will
literally-
know.
I know.
I think it'd be cool if you guys did.
Maybe someday.
I think so too.
Maybe she'll get more lenient later on in life. Ashley's like writing
Could you imagine,
down.
Miranda, you and I writing a book?
I would write like 3 pages and then you'd like pop a sentence in there for me and then we keep going.
I'd be like, this is too boring. Drama, drama. Funny.
I mean, we could try it, see what
That'd be-
happens, but
It's good.
I don't know.
You
It could be about
yeah.
sisters.
Fun.
That's really
Last Mom Standing was actually the fastest book that I've ever written. And 100% credit goes to Bailey Merlin, who is a friend of mine in one of my critique groups. And we were doing it for Novel November and we were tracking. We were using one of the little trackers and I would see her and I would write and I was like ready to go to bed. I was like, damn, that bitch is ahead of me again. Write out another 500 words. So I am very competitive.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I feel like Miranda's is longer than mine. Well, I don't have the time for that. So here's my 3 sentences
Right.
to add to it.
I don't like that character name. That's what we're gonna. That's my input. We're gonna change that, and then I'll go back in there. I'm like, what in the hell is this? What'd you?
Search and replace my whole document. Oh my God.
Why is her hair brown? Let's make it blue and pink streak.
Yeah, that tracks. Oh my gosh.
And that's
Normally
the
I
story
have fun colored
Yeah,
hair.
Normally.
I would
Normally.
totally.
All right. Well, it wouldn't be the weekly mash without a little bit of fun. So we're going to do a mom's survival rapid fire. So just the first thing
no.
that you think of, what item would you grab first in an apocalypse? And no cheating with coffee. We're not doing coffee. It's got to be something else.
Oh no, baseball bat. Like
Ooh, yeah.
I just want to be armed.
Well, you run out of ammunition if you have a pew-pew.
Right.
I don't want to get us flagged or anything.
Yeah, baseball
But-
bat will
yeah.
last forever. Or tire
Yeah.
iron. That's always a
Oh,
winner
yeah.
too.
Iron Man?
In a pinch, frying pan.
There you go.
I like it. Your favorite book or movie in the apocalypse genre?
I love Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
I
love
want
the
to read
movies.
that one so bad.
Interesting. The character from Last Mom Standing you'd most want as your neighbor. Now that I know they're related to your real neighbors.
So it's going to be someone who's not one of Jane's neighbors. It's
Okay.
Hector, who my dream cast for Hector is Pedro Pascal. And that just tells you everything you need to know right there.
Write that down, Miranda. You can
Yes.
insert it here.
If people don't know who he is, like, I'll put a picture, but come on, people. where
Oh my gosh. If you could trade places with one fictional mom for a day, who would it be?
That's hard. So I hate to say it, but I'm kind of a Lorelai Gilmore kind of mom.
Me
who does
too.
not love Lorelai,
So that would probably be
though?
the easiest
Yeah,
one.
I like that. It's funny because when I
Oh,
was younger, I was like
me
total
too.
Rory, like book nerd. And now, like being older, I'm like, Lorelai's got some things going on. I feel like that might suit me
You
better
learn to let
now.
things slide.
Cozy writing must have music, silence, snacks, or chaos, or a mix.
So I do need snacks. Snacks really I need to be munching something that really helps me. I also need silence. And my kid is the opposite. She loves chaos. She likes to write at like a cafe
Mm-hmm.
with like stuff going on around her
Yeah.
and like people talking. I'm like, oh God, whatever. Different.
The one way that you guys differ.
No, we're
grow up.
people watching.
I don't know. I have a laptop. I sit on my couch. I sit sideways with my legs up. I have one of those electric foot
Nice.
massager things that I prop up on a pillow. I've got
Yep.
my whole set up and I can bang out
Love
the
it.
words.
No, Miranda and I watch people too
Yeah,
much.
it would be too distracting being
like
out
when we
and
were in
about.
college. Yeah. When we
It's
were in
good for
college, we used to go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, it's good for
Yeah.
inspiration. I like to people watch
Yeah.
when I'm looking for ideas,
Yeah.
but like when I'm actually trying to be productive, no, they all need to go.
No, I couldn't do it. When we went to college, we used to have to take the bus into the college, and the what's it called? The depot?
The
Or I don't
bus
even know.
plaza.
What's
the
it
bus
called?
plaza.
Oh, the bus
Filled with
plaza.
all
We had to
kinds of
sit for
cool
like 2
people.
hours. My mom was like, why don't you guys ever get your homework done while you're like waiting for the bus? And we're like, have you been
Right?
there?
Yeah.
Like, the only thing good that was there was the security guy.
I forgot about
Oh, yeah.
that.
Oh, I
Man in
didn't.
uniform.
She totally,
Hector is a cop.
slipped her number to the security guy. It's so
Oh my God.
He
funny.
did. He did not call
No.
me.
Well, I mean,
I'm
if
sorry.
He was a beautiful That's the only time I've ever
you
done
were a
that.
security person at a bus plaza with all these people riding like public transit and some random person gave you their number, would you call them? I don't think so. I don't blame him at all.
He was pretty though.
It's funny.
Sorry. Now I'm like reminiscing on the
You're
hot
such a
security
dork.
guy. So if you ever worked at the Spokane bus plaza and you had some random girl give you a number,
Misconnection.
you know where to find me.
You're married. Be quiet.
Oh my
Just kidding, I'm married.
Gosh.
How old is he? I'm
There
single.
you go.
That's a good
I mean,
question.
if Pedro's interested.
Yeah. Throw that out into the universe.
We got
Yeah,
it.
it's a very good question. Michael, it's been a blast. Thank you so much for joining and sharing the Last Mom Standing, the book with the, oh my gosh, Last Mom Standing with the Book Mash community. I cannot
know.
talk today. Listeners, you can grab your copy of Last Mom Standing on Amazon. Michael, before you leave, can you let us know where everybody can find you, where they can find your work, your socials, all the good things about you?
So my publishing company is Pepperback Press, and pepperbackpress.com has all of my books and my daughter's books. I have author Mary Jane Owen on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. I'm not super active. I'm trying to do better. I am trying so hard to do better.
It's okay. We're all getting there.
We have a problem with socials.
Yeah,
We're a little bit
mainly
too
you.
addicted. I know, I'm
It's
sorry.
okay. It got us where we're at, so I'm fine with it.
You're welcome. We will have everything Michael Owens posted below, so you guys can also go follow her. Make sure to keep up with all things Book Mash, all things Michael. Until next time, keep mashing those TBRs, surviving the chaos, one cozy apocalypse at a time. Bye, guys.